Hello everyone, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video, and welcome to Day 7 of the 31 Days of Horror Challenge in October. Now that we are on Day 7, I figured I'd finally talk about a film that is well known to a lot of horror fans. It's one of my personal favorite horror films of all time. It's in my top 5, and easily the top 10 as well. I mean, this is just such a well-done flick, and ironically enough, my good buddy Rob's Collection, reviewed this for his 31 Days of Horror Challenge, and I completely forgot that I had this on my list as well, so pretty cool that we reviewed the same film on different days of this challenge. But getting onto the film, you can tell by the title already, it's going to be on Candyman. We dare you to say his name 5 times. Yeah, but Candyman, released in 1992, directed by Bernard Rose. Core stars Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen. You also have Alexander Berkeley, Casey Lemons, who I think was in Hard Target, I believe. I believe that's her. And, I mean, what more can you say about Candyman that has not been said before? This is truly one of those films that's creeped me out for years, and it still does creep me out. I remember seeing clips of this when I was a kid and just scared the living hell out of me. I mean, if you don't know the idea of the story, you basically have Helen, played by Virginia Madsen, who's a student who's going to be writing a thesis paper on urban legends, and she hears about this urban legend known as the Candyman, and the Candyman was a person who was the son of a slave, and they cut off his hand with a hook for a hand. They smeared honey on him and got the bees on him, and the bees came and killed him. And now there's like this whole thing that he haunts the projects in in Chicago. Chicago. And Virginia Madsen starts to investigate this whole thing. And then, you know, things start happening and things like that. I mean, what more can you say about Candyman that has not been said before? I mean, Candyman is an absolute classic. Now, before I get on to the actual review, I love the new artwork that Scream Factory had for this Blu-ray. I love the new artwork, and this thing is packed with tons of features, has both cuts of the film. It's easily one of my personal favorite releases from Scream Factory, and there's, of course, the original poster art for the movie. I mean, this thing is loaded. This one's the theatrical cut. You have a brand new commentary with the director and Tony Todd. And in disc 2, you have brand new interviews with Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen, things like that. So you have a lot of stuff on this Blu-ray. Definitely worth picking up if you're a big Scream Factory person and a big fan of this film. It's about time this film, I mean, I know it had a special edition on DVD, but had some good bonus features on there, but this is definitely the better release. But now getting on to the actual review of itself. I mean, what more can you say about this? It's easily one of my personal favorite horror flicks of all time. I think it's truly creepy. I think it's got a really good atmosphere. And one of the things that I really liked about this film is that Candyman doesn't really appear in the film until almost an hour into the movie, which I'm fine with, because it's a really good slow build-up of Helen investigating this urban legend as the Candyman and things like that. And you get some really creepy images. Like, you get the part when the kid goes into the public restroom and sits on the toilet, and then there's blood all over the toilet. You can kind of guess what happens with the kid. Just creepy stuff. Really, that was one of those scenes that just scared the living hell out of me when I saw that way back in the day. And it's a really creepy setting, like within the projects of Chicago, and apparently from behind the scenes of the movie, one of their, I think it's like, if not the dangerous, but one of the most dangerous areas in all of the United States is the Chicago projects. And apparently it got so bad down there one time when they were filming, there was a couple bullet holes in one of their film vans, and they had to hijack it out of there really quick. So, and I love the whole setting in the Chicago projects. It's really creepy, really good atmosphere. I mean, I love the musical score. Really great musical score. Of course, it's based on the novel by Clive Barker, who wrote the novel. And this is just, I mean, if you really want to see like a really creepy movie and, you know, just get the scare the living hell out of you, this is definitely one that you have to see. And, you know, I'll tell you what too, some of the other scenes that really get to me as well is when, you know, Tony Todd appears finally and the bees are coming out of him. Like, he pulls open, like, he wears like this like jacket like looking thing, and when he pulls open his jacket, you see like his rib cage and there's bees in there, and then the bees are coming out of him, like coming out of his mouth and things like that. And it's not CGI as well, those were actual real bees. I mean, and apparently from what I heard, Tony Todd got paid like a certain amount of money for each sting, so he must have gotten a good payday out of that. I really hope he did, going through that crap. I mean, I cannot imagine going through that. I mean, having actual bees in your mouth, and I'm a person that's really like not really an insect person, and that gives me the heebie-jeebies, and it just gives me goosebumps and chills up my spine when I see like the bees coming out of Tony Todd and all that stuff. And knowing that the fact that it's real bees makes it even more creepier and much more, you know, effective and more like I said, more creepier. And, you know, the whole thing, like, you know, there's the murders are going on by the Candyman, and Virginia Madsen gets blamed for it because people think that the Candyman is just like an urban legend and they don't see him, but she does though. You have that really creepy looking shot inside the projects where you see Candyman's face and kind of like in a graffiti art, and the mouth is all open and things like that. And just Tony Todd, the way he plays Candyman is so perfect. I mean, he has that great voice, that booming voice that fills the room. You know, be my victim, Helen, and things like that. I mean, Tony Todd just has a fantastic voice. And Tony Todd is a really good actor, too. He's been in small parts and other stuff like Platoon and The Rock and things like that. I think this is easily his best performance, without a doubt. I mean, just a great character that he plays, and it's just a really creepy character. And I love the whole story about the urban legend of the Candyman, where you say his name 5 times in the mirror, and still to this day, I still have not yet said his name 5 times in the mirror. I mean, that's how much of an impact this film has had on me. And it's truly terrifying, and things like that. I mean, I don't really know much more I can say about this film. And apparently, too, another interesting fact about the behind the scenes of the movie is that Virginia Madsen gained a little bit of weight by eating lots of pizza. I read that on the trivia, actually, on IMDb, which I thought was kind of interesting. And the other cast members do a good job. Xander Berkeley, that's a character actor who's been in a lot of movies, whether it be I know he was on The Walking Dead, but he was in Heat and a lot of other stuff. Casey Lemons does a good job. Very well directed by Bernard Rose. The sequels, not too much of a fan of the sequels, especially Part 3. Part 2 was just but if you want to see the best one, it's definitely this one. I think this was really a film that did not need a franchise. I think it was just good as one movie and things like that. And it's a really creepy film. It's definitely one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's one of my favorite horror films from the 90s. I mean, this is just easily, it's such a great flick. And if you have not seen Candyman, you are definitely missing out on a classic. So that is pretty much it for my review for Candyman. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.